Hello guys and welcome. In today's video I'm going to do my amateur review between Sony A7 III with 1.8 lens natively and Canon EoS R and eventually 50mm 1.8. Now before we jump into the video, I just want to give you a brief background who am I and why I'm even doing this video. I'm not a photographer, neither videographer, filmmaker, whatever you want to call it. I have separate YouTube channel which is strictly related to fitness. I'm uploading in this channel for almost 2 years now. And the reason for me to do this video is because once when you start uploading very fast, you realize that you need better gear, you want to bump up your production quality and the values of your videos. This makes me spend quite substantial amount of money during the last 2 years. And I think it will be very helpful for somebody like me watching this video right now to make his own mind based on the review that I'm going to make. This will not be technical review, however, it will be in certain categories like lenses, which lenses are good for YouTube, the ease of use, how to use it handheld, what problem I faced like an amateur, let's say, filmmaker or YouTuber. And eventually this will help you decide and maybe even realize that the equipment you have is already the best you need. The reason for me to say that is I'm filming Canon 80D with 16-35 1.8 Sigma art lens, which is astonishing camera. As you can see, now it's almost a golden hour. I try to pick the best time of the day for you guys so you can see the best from this comparison. Now obviously the highlights a little bit bloated over there, but we are outside. I just wanted to take as much as I can from the good weather we have here. And here is how this video it will go forward. The more I progress from category to category to talk about all these cameras, the Canon EoS R and Sony A7 III, I will switch in the cameras too. This will serve two purposes. First, you will be able to see what the quality of the image is. I will record 1080p and 4K with both cameras, but also to see how the microphone levels on each cameras are. I'm using, I think, Rode Microphone Go. I will link in the description just to make sure I pronounce the right brand. And so with that being said, let's get started. First take on EoS R. Alright, this camera that you're watching right now is Canon EoS R. I own it for almost 6 months with 24-70 2.8 Mark I of EF Canon glass. The microphone is still the same, Video Mic Go, I think. The cheaper one, $69, but sounds great. You can hear how this microphone sounds. Now, how much cameras I own and why this is important? I own a few of these cameras, not because I'm into filmmaking, especially I was not that much into filmmaking, but more and more I'm getting into it. That's why I'm making this video. In the beginning of 2018, the end of 17, the beginning of 18, I bought Canon 80D, which was the first part of this clip. After a while and after purchasing the Sigma 18-35, I wanted to experience what really the full frame look is and how this will affect my YouTube videos for my other fitness channel. After that, what I can say, the thing gets worse. I mean, I bought a new lens, which was 70-200, 2.8 from Canon Mark II. Great lens, but then I needed a body. So in the beginning of 2019 of this year, I bought Canon 5D Mark IV. And going to Mark IV from 80D without a flip out screen, with the app that I have to connect to my phone so I can operate it for my videos. I mean, I'm a how to say, shooting myself all the time, which is not ideal, but it's what I have to do. I found it not so much difficult, but it was not so easy like with 80D. That's why 6 months later, when the Canon EoS R, what you're watching right now, dropped the price, I pulled the trigger again and I bought this camera. Don't ask me how my wife felt about it, camera after camera. And even I feel weird, and it's part of the reason why I'm making this video, because I want to help you decide and to give you my thinking process behind how and why I actually got into the cameras, how I think about it, what I learn about all these things. We are at the point when I have the EoS R that you're watching right now. Great camera, a lot easier to use, a little bit of learning curve in the beginning if you are brand new. If you're coming from Canon, no problem. Few features of the Canon EoS R that people are talking about, the professionals. I want to give you my amateur perspective from the fitness muscle type of guy to the camera world. Now, as I said, it stays great in hand. The material, the rubber, the buttons are just great. Everybody is talking about how good 1080p is, and that's totally true. Even I feel it's better than Canon 5D Mark IV, even if they share the same sensor, same full frame sensor, but somehow, probably because of the processor, because of the bitrate, I'm not sure, but I think it's the same bitrate, but somehow they make the processing inside the camera bring a little bit more color, a little bit more punchy, probably something with the software, I'm not sure. So I use more and more Canon EoS R. Other thing after that happened that dramatically changed the way how I saw cameras, because while I was trying and buying these cameras and lenses, you can understand this is of course substantial amount of money. I was taking also film courses, and one of them was one film making course of the British DP, director of production, Philip Bloom. So it's amazing course, you can find it on MZ, I will put link down below too. And after watching this course, I did not hesitate. I just sent him a message and say, hey, listen, I saw in the course you have EoS R, but you also have Sony, and which camera really I should retain, hold for myself, because with all these cameras make no sense. I use only one camera. Sometimes I'm trying little projects with friends just to make better, to get better with these videos. I shoot with two cameras, but still, which camera? And his response, even a week later, was with EoS R, he said, 4K kills it. What he means by that is without the full frame sensor of the 4K, you don't have the full flexibility. And when I switched to Sony after a while, I will explain how exactly this affects the whole thing. Now just a few more features of this camera. As I said, great in hand, great materials, the audio sounds great, EF lenses combined, no problem. In the beginning it was very tricky with this, removing the joystick. Now you have to scroll to the display, which now I found a little bit better as an experience, but before that I really missed my joystick from 5D Mark IV, which I don't really miss, but I just have to pick it up. Then something that not a lot of people will notice was the sound from the actual mechanical shutter in 5D Mark IV. Just it sounds a lot better. That's why either camera I will decide to hold for myself. I will probably hold the Mark IV. It's my first professional camera, and even if I'm not a photographer, I just like to do and own professional things, because I don't know, just the highest quality like never lie. I mean, that's the truth. But the question is, why then, after all these things and features with EoS R, with ADD, with all the lenses and everything and great colors and learning more about cameras, why I will decide to pick now Sony A7 III? To answer this question, I will switch to the Sony right now. You will not believe, but this video was recorded almost 2 weeks after the first two shots with Canon ADD and with EoS R. The reason was because I did not check the memory of this Sony, and the memory was over after 1 minute of recording time. This simply means that if I had this flip out screen from the previous Canons, this will never happen. Anyhow, I checked in my editing software where the project was left, and here I am at the same park just to finish this video with the final thoughts on Sony A7 III. This is even better. I have probably 1 week more to the point where I have to go back and return it, or either use it for a future time. Now, you will probably see at this time that the quality is just amazing. Obviously, the drawback is no flip out screen. That's a big minus, especially if you film yourself. Other than that, I found that 1080p looks really terrible on this Sony. So if you or I am going to use it, the best case is just to use it all together for 4K. How about this camera used like a daily driver for vlogging, for YouTube videos? Many people I've seen in YouTube using it. I've used it. It's easy, it's not a big deal. You can work with the autofocus. In fact, in video, autofocus is great. You can still use it. For usability, probably because I have it for a while and I played with cameras for the last 2.5 years. I kind of figured out the menu very fast. You kind of know the terms that you can expect to see in the menus. Yes, it's not a Canon, and that's a big deal, but at the same time, if you are familiar a little bit with the cameras, you can easily figure it out. You can easily figure it out for yourself. Just for a reference, after finishing with this clip, I will do a bonus clip with Canon EoS R, also 4K. Even if it's cropped, I wanted to see if the quality actually is different between this camera with 1.8 native Sony lens and with 24-70 2.8 lens on the Canon. Just between 4K and 4K 24 frames per second for the Sony and 40K още веднъж го казвам, 24 frames 4K for Sony and 24 frames 4K even if it's cropped for the Canon camera. After all, from my amateur experience with the cameras, I can say I really enjoy it. In fact, if I keep the EoS R and Sony A7 III, I can say I have the new teaser, which is 1DX Mark III. For this, however, in the other video. If I use this for 4K with full frame, I can definitely put it in my workflow. The total amount that I will spend for this system and the other system is equal to probably 6,000, which 6,500 it will be the 1DX Mark III. For me personally, I will have to decide if I have to hold all the cameras, the 80D, Mark IV, EoS R and the Sony, or just get rid of everything and keep 1DX Mark III, which is in my cart right now, waiting to be pre-ordered. I just wanted to have a little bit more time, shoot a little bit more, think through what the benefits are and really to see what is best for me and what I really need. One thing I noticed with these cameras is addiction. If you're not a professional photographer like me, if you are neither professional videographer like me, you really have to either pick one thing, improve your storytelling techniques, improve your photography, in meaning how you catch the frame, because this is all that matters. In YouTube we all watch in 1080p, and yes, with all these technical characteristics you can go crazy. They don't really matter to me, but at the same time, the more I get into the cameras, the more and more they do matter actually for me, because now I know what they are. What do you guys really think, for those of you who have Canon and Sony? How do you like this video, or do you dislike it? I'm also interested to see if you can understand anything from my English, considering my strong accent. With this, I will leave you with few bonus tips with Canon EoS R and 4K, so you can do your comparison. And so guys, even if I'm further from the camera now because of the 4K, this is 24 frames per second, the lens is 24-70, but I adjusted to 35mm, so pretty much this is the same field of view. The audio, I'm probably 3 meters away, which is what, 6 feet or something like that. You can decide for yourself if you like this 4K more on the previous, on the Sony. Anyhow, the way I start this video was with the recommendation for Philip Bloom, the English GP, which recommended to me the Sony A7 III. Not actually recommended, but he said EoS R was killed by the crop on the 4K. So now we can really see what the difference is, what we really like. However, I really like to see myself now on this screen. I know I'm in frame, I know the video is recording, the exposure is right. I definitely think for YouTube, if somebody wants to save time, Canon with flipped out screen are the way to go. Either ADD or EoS R. Yes, there is a lot new technology in the newer cameras, but at the end of the day, we have almost the same sensor, and the difference it's not so big. Again, we should stay away from getting sick about these cameras and getting addicted to it, of the craft of creating better content to be better filmmakers for YouTube, because we are not the real filmmakers. Truth is, the real filmmakers actually rent great, very expensive cameras to create this amazing productions, and what we do, it's in a way we imitate what they do, and I think we are doing a pretty good job. In this case, and if you like the video one more time, leave a thumbs up. I'm definitely trying to put more videos about my journey with the cameras, with the filmmaking, with the photography, and hopefully this will inspire somebody like you that think it's probably too late, or he's not so technical at all, or he's in some other profession, to also pick the camera and to develop this new, not just skill, but new language, what I called photography and cinematography. In this day and age, video and photo, it will be the way how the new young will communicate through social media with the world, and eventually create businesses, create friendships, getting married, and all of these things. Imagine if I don't know any English at all, not even worse like mine, I will not be able to share this idea with you, and I have to share it just in my native language. So it's really great thing, I really enjoy it, and I see how the more I do it, the more and better it becomes. I wish you all the best, many successes in 2020, and I'll see you guys in the next video.